Hi everyone, Miss Schlarman here. Today we're going to talk about how to draw a shoe still life and then put Zentangle patterns on it. So here we have an example of another one, and here's the shoe. So we're going to show you a fast motion and then slow it down and take our time. Remember to draw lightly so you can erase if you have any difficulties. First, you just want to get the nice outline. Then you're going to add in your different patterns and your Zentangles. Take your time, be patient, look at your shoe, let it inspire you. Think about different shapes and patterns. Here we have a boot with a Zentangled pattern. How to do this? First, you're going to pick a shoe and get your paper. You're going to use your pencil and you're going to hold it vertical, straight up and down. You probably need to stand up to do this. And you're basically going to go around your shoe. And you're going to see all those bumps that are created. You want to have those bumps there. So take your time. Notice how I'm holding the shoe steady with my other hand and going around. I really want to get that bump of the heel because that's going to show me where my lines are, my proportions to making my shoe accurate in my still life. So a still life is a picture of an object set up on a table. All right, there I have a good outline. Now real quick, I want to show you what happens if you tilt your pencil this way. So right here, I'm going in there and I'm like, oh, I'm tracing it, it looks good. And I'm tracing all of the details. Ooh, that doesn't look so good. It was too small because I'm slanting my pencil. Now, let's say I'm doing it like this and I'm tracing around it. It's looking wonderful and I've got it. But notice my pencil is slanted. That's way too big. So when you do this, you want to make sure your pencil is absolutely vertical, straight up and down, and going along the sides. You're just going to get those bumps. You want it to have all of those different characteristics. So you just want to go along the outside or the edge of it to create the outline of your shoe. See that one better. All right, let's turn it back over to that first one that I did, nice and vertical. The next step is when you are creating a still life, you are looking at the actual object. You're drawing from 3D. So while we traced it, that we did that to kind of help us get started. But now I want you to really look at it and I want you to notice where the sole is. So drawing the sole of the shoe is the first thing you want to do. And it's a lot bigger than a lot of people think. So you see this bump right here? That's that bump right there. And it's coming down this way and it comes around. And then it's got this little bump here. So I'm going to do that. Drawing a still life is looking at real life and trying to make it as accurate as possible. It's not abstract. It's trying to look at it. You can abstract still lifes, but right now we're really just focusing on trying to make it as realistic as possible. So I'm getting those little gribs in there. Next, you want to think about your proportions. So here's this red line coming around here. I'm going to come around and I'm going to think about those proportions. And you notice that I'm drawing lightly. Why am I drawing lightly? So that in case I mess up, I can erase. I got this little detail right here. And I want you to look at all of those details. Think about here's where that bend, that comes all the way down here as it comes up. And then it has this little black area here. Take your time, look at it. You don't need to get in a rush. So think about counting how many of these holes are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And they're spaced out from here to here. So 1, 2, and then I'm going to go up here for space purposes. 1, 2, and then 2 in the middle here. Okay, so I'm working with the proportions to try to keep it as accurate as possible. So here's these Adidas symbol right here. And notice how I'm drawing all the sections first. I'm not just drawing each individual one because they're all aligned. So I want to make sure and try to get my thickness and my pieces together. And then I'll go in and erase these areas. And, you know, if you mess up, erase often. Remember, accidents sometimes lead to wonderful things, and we learn from it. We get creative from that. So here I'm going to put in this little the red strings that are here. This is all about looking at the detail. You really want to take your time. You want to go slow, add in those details, and work on this. So as I'm coming around, I'm looking at it. It's got this little bit of an overlay, so I'm going to erase that. This one comes over, goes under, and it goes in there. Now, a little secret is if you don't want to draw your shoelaces, you can take your shoelaces out of your shoe. You can also try to change the knot, maybe tuck them into it, but you could try to just be as realistic as possible and look at those details, because those little details are what makes good art. You know, you want to see the difference of it. You know, draw what you see. Don't draw like a cartoon looking big loops on there. Draw what you see. And then this one's coming back over that way. So it comes up through there. Okay. All right, so I still have most of my lines are in there. Here, you can see the S here and the A is here. Okay, and then that's pretty much all I can see. And then we do have stitches in these little areas. You want to see all of the stitches, all of the texture. Now this has kind of like a circle crisscross fishnet texture to it. You could do that texture, but we're going to be doing that Zentangle, so we're probably going to break it up and make a little more design pattern to it. So once I have this, I'm going to still keep my shoe there because this is all about that shoe. But we also need to make it a still life, and a still life is set on a table. So make sure you put your table line behind it. That gives it its place on the page in their outline. After you do that, of course, you can take a marker. Now, I'm just using a Sharpie. I like Sharpies because they're permanent and I don't have to worry about erasing. I can just erase right over it as I'm drawing it, and it works out well. Okay, I got the loop thing here. Notice it's a little thinner, so I'm going to change it up a little bit. And it's coming around. Take your time when you're doing this, you know, make it look good. When art is not a fast thing, it's a slow. You just kind of take your time, work on the details, get into the zen. The Zentangles are all about that. It's all about just becoming one with your drawing. Sometimes when I'm drawing, I kind of end up losing track of time and I just tone everything out, and it's a good form of meditation. And that's kind of what the Zentangles represent. So take your time, don't get in a hurry, make it look good. You know, and if you have to start over, you start over. Or you don't really necessarily start over, you learn from it. Use your eraser. Think creatively, okay, as you come through it. There's no rush here. So I'm just taking my time and in through here. Now, after I get this all traced, I'm going to use my eraser and I'm going to erase my pencil marks. So here we come. And I've got this one's coming in. This is going over. Comes out. This one comes in. Comes out. And goes up. So it comes in through there. Get these little guys in there. This is almost a Zentangle in itself if you look at it, because it's got all of this different patterning and these knot looking areas. And then what I'm going to do, oh, I got to put my S in there and all of those details. I'm going to take this over here and I'm going to erase. I'm going to erase these guidelines. Oh, you know what? I forgot I wanted to keep a little bit of that in there. I'll put it in with the Zentangle when I do that design. So as I'm doing this, I want to just be careful and use a big eraser, kind of helps. Some of my pencils always seem to run out of eraser on the bottom of them. So use a big one if you have it. If not, just kind of keep with it. You can use colored markers. That would be really nice. You can add in a nice Zentangle design using color. You don't have to just use the black and white. Some people like to just keep it with the black and white because that gets the zone going. I'm going to go ahead and use a red marker for this because I feel like we might as well. So I'm going to start with this one right here. I'm going to just start doing this because it's got that stitching there and I want that to be representative. So I'm just going to go over and kind of keep this into its area. And I'm going to just come up with this pattern because I'm still wanting it to look like a still life inspired piece. So I'm going to just go ahead and outline this to kind of make it look like it. All right, now what I want to do is I'm going to break it up a little bit. So I want to come back in here and, or do I? Let's think about it. Okay, let's talk about how to do the lattice work. Okay, so over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. I always love this one, but this one definitely you need to kind of use your pencil first because it gets tricky. If it goes, so I'm going to go ahead and erase as I go. If this one's going over, okay, this has to go under. So I'm going to erase this. If this is under, then this one, this is over. Okay, so then this one has to go under. Okay. Then if this is over, it has to go under this one. And if this one is over, this one has to go under. Okay. So you see how it's creating that lattice work? This is over, so this one has to go under. And if this is over, this one has to go under. So there's this pattern creating where it goes over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. So you definitely, if you want to do a complicated Zentangle, you want to make sure that you take your time and figure out the actual pattern to it. So this one, I'm going to keep it just like that. All right, so now I'm going to come in and I'm going to trace over those lines. So that one is under, this one is over, that one goes like this, and you want to keep them all in their patterns and their shapes as they come through. All right, so just take your time, go with the Zen, think about what's going on. Sometimes I get overwhelmed, and a good way to unwhelm or not be overwhelmed is to sit down and just take some doodles, okay? Just kind of come back and forth and think about it. And then if you want it to, where it goes under, you can add in a little darker value. And that value there is going to just kind of shade it in wherever it goes under. And that's going to create that illusion. Oh, this is a lot like those optical illusions we talked about earlier, and how it really takes some accuracy on that as it comes through. I'm going to add in that coming out. All right, right here, I know I'm going to do some stipple. So stipple are just dots. You don't want to hit down too hard because then it'll damage your tips of your markers. You just want to go nice and slow. I'm just going to do some stipple. And then, of course, I want to just do some patterns of lines. That's one thing, you know, a Zentangle really is just about lines and shapes and textures and patterns and moving it all around. You know, I'm going to do stipple in my Adidas sign as well. All right, so pretend I'm doing some stipple here. And I might put in black stipple with it too. Now, over here, I want to do maybe Maybe I want to do more of a zigzag. And you just do a zigzag. And then after that zigzag, maybe I want to add in some dots. I'm just going to put in some dots. And after I do some dots, maybe I want to go ahead and put in some shapes. Maybe I'm going to do circles. And notice how sometimes I have the circles go off the pattern where you only see half of the circle. You want to do that because it keeps a consistency. And this is all about patterns. And so, as you know, when you look at cut fabric and there's a pattern on it, it doesn't necessarily always cut where you want it to be. Sometimes the patterns line up in an awkward way. So whenever you're sewing or designing something, you have to kind of think about, well, what's the pattern look like? Is it going to look good when I put it together with another piece? So I'm just coming in here and moving around. Oh, I like these big circles. It kind of looks nicely with the stipple coming on. I like the big simple area. And then I'm just gonna keep going here. I could do this all day. But I know as you're looking at this, I'm probably gonna speed it up so that you're not just going in real time. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna add in the stipple and do a combination. So you can have it as many different colors as you want in your Shoe Still Life Zentangle, or you can have just a one color. It's totally up to you. Here I'm just using two. Actually, I'm just using one color and then black. Because as we know, black is a shade. It's not actual color. You know what? I really like this. I'm gonna add that texture over here as well. So I'm just gonna keep going around. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna take the black and I'm gonna make a dot into here. So in Zentangles, a lot of the times people think that they have to do one section at a time, and you don't. You know, when you're working with art, you can go all over. I mean, you're just gonna take it where it wants to go. You can kind of feel, oh, this is telling me I need to go here. This is telling me to go there. Sometimes I lose, like, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, and I have to like think, or I have to stop and I need to go clean the kitchen or something, or clean my bedroom, just to take my mind off of it while still being productive. So here I've noticed I'm really liking the bringing in the two different colors here. So I'm just going to keep working with that kind of idea. And looking at your shoe, you can still kind of get inspired by it because there's already really cool textures on shoes as it is. So I missed a little spot right here, kind of bothered me. Gotta get that. Okay, let's see. What do I want in this big area? What do I want in this area? Maybe I'm gonna do wavy lines. More organic. It doesn't always have to be hard edges. You know, it can be soft edges. It can be rough edges. Just take your time and go down and over. Come up with your own patterns. Research. There are so many different patterns on the internet you can look at. Some they have ones already planned out for you and you just have to follow their pattern making ways and do it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with research. Research is great. Look into it. Now, you don't want to trace someone's artwork because that's cheating. That's like plagiarism, isn't it? So you just want to create your own image, but use resources. Let it help you. Let them work together. Okay, I'm starting to get to a finished one. But like I said, I can just keep doing this. Just keep going. It's like Dora, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. As I'm coming through here. And it's coming up. As I go. I can hear my son upstairs playing his video game right now. He's getting really animated. I don't know if it's going to pick up on the video or not. Okay, here we go. I'm going to add in, what should I do here? I need some black. Or you know what? I'm going to come in and do another close layer to this as it comes in, goes through. And there we go. It comes up. Just kind of thinking what I'm going to have for dinner tonight. How I can make this more interesting. Oh, maybe I'll do every other in between, just some diagonal lines. And other things is direction of line. You know, you can switch the lines going one way, then go the other way. And that's a really simple pattern, but yet it really makes for the layering and pulling it up together. So maybe this one, I'm just gonna do lines horizontal, going side to side. You can make them vertical, which would be straight up and down too. Ooh, maybe I'll do a combination. Straight up and down and vertical. Yeah, and just kind of keep working with it. All right, so I do feel like I can make this a little, I want these guys to stick out just a little bit because it's the logo for the shoe. So I'm gonna make that a little stronger. And I could just keep going and going, but I'm gonna stop now so you guys could start creating. All right, have at it. Thank you all for watching. Now go create.